Hi everybody, this is Jack Stangiani, and I'm doing a quick first impressions video on my Kmise 22 fret ST style guitar neck, which is ST for Strat. I'm going to be basing it not off of a Mighty Mite or a Warmoth or a genuine Fender or even a Squier neck, but instead I have it side by side with the terrible neck that came on my $110 eBay Jazzmaster, which I am in the process of repairing. Don't beat down on me too much for the quality of my work. This is the first time I'm doing this. But yeah, here we go. So this just arrived today. I believe it was around $35 USD. From what I have been told, because you cannot find the specs, I was told that it has somewhere around a 14 or a 16-inch radius, which is cool with me. I'm not a fan of the super tight, like 7 1/4 or 9.5 inch radius. Everything I have has at least a 12-inch radius. So I was fine with that. My main concern was being able to find a replacement nut. I'll probably have to cut my own. I'm almost definitely going to go with Graphtec. Anyway, I'm putting these side by side because if I totally screw this one up, which is somewhat likely, pretty likely, I'm going to end up going with this neck. I still wanted a very inexpensive option. $35 is super cheap. And again, the reoccurring theme here, I know, is you get what you pay for. But I've had people tell me they've had really, really good luck with these necks. And the main gripe was that it needed some finishing to be a nice neck. Well, that's fine. I think that happens with most guitars that you might pay a lot more for. So the first thing that I noticed are the fret ends are very sharp and protrude out considerably from the fretboard. I think this is to be expected, if not from how it would just come from the factory, but also for the fact that it's pretty cold outside and it's considerably cooler to the touch compared to this one that's been sitting inside. I'm on the East Coast, Middle Atlantic area, and it's around 50 degrees outside, which I think is plenty cold. I think it's been sitting out there for a few hours, and then it had to make its way here, and who knows where it's been sitting before it finally got to me. One thing I did notice right away, and this is obviously subjective, but I really like the grain pattern on it. When you compare it to this no-name neck, it's super plain Jane here. You don't see any real striping or anything. But I almost immediately noticed that not only did this Kmise neck, and that's Kmise, I might not even be saying that right, but I don't know. Tell me another way to say it, right? It's got a really nice pattern to it, and it feels about the same as far as being smooth to the touch, but it looks richer and deeper. I'm not sure if they oiled this to make the striping more predominant, but it does not exist really on this generic neck. So my big worry here was that I would get another neck with a crooked nut slot or crooked tuner holes. To the naked eye, it looks much better than what came on this guy here. Yikes. So I'm already happy with that. And again, I just pulled this thing out of the package and started shooting because I was excited for this. But I kind of dig the skunk stripe on this generic and I'm only saying this is, I know that these are both super generic, but Kmise has a name. This one does not. But, you know, I'm cool with it not having that skunk stripe. And if it's not executed properly, like this thing was sticking out, protruding a little bit, you can still feel it. It's definitely not, you know, the most beautiful. But I do really dig that it has a more predominant grain pattern to it. I've got some plans for the finish on both of these necks, and I don't want to give it away, but I will say that I'm happy that this has some grain that I can get to pop out a little bit. So again, this was $35. I could not justify putting a $150 or $200 neck on a $110 body, even though it wasn't actually $110 if you subtract the neck. Or maybe it is, because the neck is, you know, many would say is worthless. But then the other problem I had, you know, you might ask, well, why not just go with like a guitar fetish, a GFS or an XP neck for a little bit more, for like $100, which is still cheaper than a Warmoth or a Mighty Might. I don't like their headstocks. I wanted the classic, like, ball end Fender or Squier headstock, and you can't, of course, you just can't find those. And Kmise seemed to be the only actual name brand. So it was really the only one that I could research. Everyone else would just have some random eBay sellers or whatever. So for the price, I knew that it would need some frets, like dressing, crowning, all that stuff. That's fine. That's enjoyable for me. I have no problem at all with that. So if you're looking into a legitimately cheap replacement, or just an alternative if you're building a guitar, and I say legitimately cheap because to me, a cheap neck is like $50 or less. A lot of people say, what's a cheap neck? And the reply is, oh, like a Warmoth or an All Parts. But those are $100 plus. That to me is not cheap really in any metric. So, of course, it's not mounted on the guitar, but as far as the finish goes, I'm happy with it. And I mean, the holes are drilled properly, it looks like. And again, to the naked eye, the nut slot is not crooked like it was here. This has actually been, I started trying to remedy that, so it was way worse, like definitely canted. So we've talked about the finish. Now let's talk about the fit. So I haven't actually. Yeah, man. So that's a real snug fit. I'll probably do a little bit of sanding, and I also want to make sure that the end here fits, has the exact same profile of the neck pocket here on the heel. But yeah, it's I want to say it's tighter than the neck that, yeah, this is the neck that came on it, okay? So it's a much tighter fit than the neck that came on it. So, you know, I'm happy with that, man. That's cool. I may end up just going with this one. So yeah, Kmise ST style, 22 fret, maple neck with maple fretboard. I say go for it. I mean, this is the only one that I bought from them, but it was like less than $40. I usually have bad luck with getting stuff like this. It might be a crapshoot. You might get a bad one, but for the price, if you're looking for something with an actual like Strat style headstock profile, you could buy 3 or 4 of these and get, you know, 2 or 3 bad ones in a row before you end up paying the price of one from Warmoth or Mighty Might or what have you. I know that means you're going to be getting something that has gone through like much more rigorous quality assurance process. But I got to be honest, and I know some people are going to hate this, but it really is like you get what you pay for, but I feel like a lion's share of that is paying for the name brand. You're paying for that name. Maybe some things come along with that, higher quality components, but for something like this, I think this is gonna be just fine. I'm gonna be happy with it. I wish I had some better lighting to show you this grain pattern because I really do dig it. But yeah, so that's it. Thank you for watching and sticking it out. If you liked the video, give it a like, share it, pass it around, post up in the comments, let me know what you think. And yeah, thanks. I'll see you next time.